What's really important to understand is like the real thing that scaled us sustainably. So if you've ever wanted to have consistency in your sales, in your book calls, in everything in your life, like in your business, predictability and consistency comes from having a systematic way to produce that result. So it's like, I can't predict how much sales I'm going to make a month or make a consistent $50, $100, $200,000 a month unless I know how that number is achieved. Does that make sense? So it's like you look at like results with KPIs as a measurement tool, and you can't grow what you don't measure. So what I'm about to share with you is essentially what my $36,000 mastermind clients pay for. And we just recently built one for our scaling and clients coaching clients who don't pay $36,000. We built an entire tracking system for them to track themselves to 7 figures. We have a KPI calculator that spits out what targets you have to hit your revenue goal per month. We have a dashboard built where the whole company is showing. We even have a legend created so you know what every KPI actually is. So you track it properly, a daily tracker, a monthly tracker, even a post tracker. So if you do organic, you'll know how important centralizing yourself is, because organizing your data is going to be the way you're going to be able to consistently make money. Anyone could go out there and make $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 or $100,000. Heck, I made $200,000 in cash in one day. Last year, we did $1.7 million just from me being talented. But this year, I'm like, I'm going to hit consistent numbers every month. I'm going to consistently grow. And I realized last year, I didn't track much. Okay. I didn't track our calls. I didn't track our sales. I tracked it like slightly, but really I just focused on like winging things. I'm like, all right, this month we're going to go make $1 bajillion. And I would just run. Now it's kind of more comforting because I can wake up in the morning and know exactly what we have to do in order to make what kind of money we want to make. So what I'm going to do with you is this quick training on the core KPIs that I teach my coaching clients to actually do in their business. And then obviously it gets way more detail oriented inside of my elite program because we're like scaling sales teams there. What I wanted to show you guys is essentially 7-figure tracking, right? So 7-figure tracking, just put it right there like that. 7-figure trackings, major KPIs for scale. So if you own a business right now that's already doing like 5, 10, 15,000 a month, and you want to get to like 40,000, 50,000, 100,000, I'm going to show you how right now by just following the stuff I'm teaching you right here. Now, if you don't track these things already and you don't know how, don't worry, stay tuned. I'm going to show you exactly how you can do that. But essentially it comes down to 2 things in the beginning. One is all about sales and the other one is all about organic. When you're looking at sales, the major things you want to track is calls taken. Now that doesn't mean calls booked, because that's different than calls booked. Not everyone shows up to the call. Offers made. And offers made, by the way, means how many people got to the price on the phone. That means they were qualified. So you got to the answer, you actually pitched the program to them. New sales, which is how many clients you close from the amount of offers you make. Number 4 would be new revenue generated. So new rev. Number 5 would be new cash collected. Number 6 would be receivables, which is how many payment plans you collected that month. And so that's pretty much the 6 top line like KPIs we teach our clients to track. It's way more granular than this in elite because this is not enough. Like you need a little more to know how to really scale to like 300-400 grand a month. But to get to like 50 to 100 grand a month, like this is really all you need. Honestly, even less than this, I just want to know a little bit more. So that's that. And then conversion wise, so conversions, what you're looking at. So conversions is how you use these numbers to actually know like what your numbers are. So there's 3 we track. One is show up rate. The other one is close rate, right? Close rate. And then we have cash collected rate. So just to tell you quickly, like this is people that show up to the call. This is people that got to the price on the call. These are the amount of people you closed from the call. These is the amount of revenue generated. So that means if I close, let's say my program is $5 grand and I close 3 sales. Well, 3 sales would equate 3 times 5,000 is 15,000, but I might not collect all the money. So revenue is the amount of the number of clients you close times offer price. So if 5 times 3 is 15,000, right? Well, you might only collect, let's say 6,000 because you did a payment plan. Like 3 of them paid $2 grand up front, 2K over 3 months. So that means the revenue generator would be 6 times 3, which is 18,000, but you collected 6,000 that day. So this would be the cash actually collected that day on the call. And then receivables is obviously the remainder 12,000 from the 18,000 that you collect over the next months. And so like you usually collect receivables from the month before. Like, and that is what a receivable is. So that's the 3 things. Now the show up rate. So this one is obviously just tell us how much people went from calls booked from this side. I'm going to go through that right now to showing up to the call, which is calls taken. So calls booked versus calls taken is the show up rate. Close rate is the amount of offers you make that turn into sales, not calls taken. A lot of you guys measure your close rate based off the amount of calls you took versus how many you closed, but maybe 30% of the calls you took weren't actually your ideal client. Like it's not someone that can fit your program or work with you, or maybe they just had a really bad attitude. You're like, I'm not going to work with you. So in that case, you don't count them a part of your close rate. You count people that are actually qualified, that can buy, that are interested, that actually could do well, but you have to close. And so like that's the close rate, calls taken versus new sales. And then cash collected rate is revenue generated versus cash collected. So my goal is always to have at least 70% of my cash collected. So if I close 100 grand, I want to collect 70 grand. If it's 50 grand or less, there's a problem. That means we're not closing upfront on the phone. If my close rate isn't at least 40%, I think there's something wrong in my opinion. Some people think 20% is okay. Average is 40 to 80% on our best months. So I just always want this above 40%. Then a show up rate, if it's at least 70% or higher, that's fine with me because that's enough to make over 100 grand a month, guys. So that's our sales. Okay. Now for the organic side, we have posts made. So the amount of posts you actually make, and that's like Facebook posts in, posts in your Facebook group, other groups, all that stuff. From there, I track post interactions. So how many likes and comments did we actually get based off per post? From there, I look at how many new friend requests we get, new friend requests that we got, right? Not that we sent out. We don't track sent outs. We track how many we get, new group requests, and then and that's how many obviously people join our groups. And then we look at new convos started. We look at follow-up combos, and then we look at how many links were sent, booking links. So how many times we offered someone to book a call with us, booking links sent, and then we look at calls booked. So again, it's a little bit more detail oriented. It's a little more complex in Elite because when you're managing an appointment setter or a closer, like you're looking at way more than this. Like the sales side for the closer is like twice as long as this. But that's only when you're like full-time managing a sales team. You're not taking your own sales calls or doing your own appointment setter. If you just have an appointment setter or just getting one, or you still are alone, like these are the only things you need to really look at. Now you might think it's a lot. Honestly, this is not a lot. Like if you're running a business and you want to actually scale the thing, this is the minimum you should be doing. Okay. For conversions and the organic side. On the organic side, the conversions that we're looking at is total combos. So this isn't really a conversion. It's more like how many follow-ups and new combos did you have together, total convos. And then we're also looking at, and this is the convo. So this is kind of like your close rate, but in organic, which is how many people did you talk to in total versus how many booked a call. That's your convo to call rate. You can also call it your book call rate, your close rate for setting, whatever. This is honestly all I look at. These 5 conversions right here, and then these 14 metrics. So for like tracking KPIs in your business, you need to have a handle of this. Like you can't create consistent sales in your business unless you can consistently track how many calls you're taking, how many of those turn into offers on the phone, how many new sales you made from that. Because those three things in the pipeline is what's controlling your income, right? So it's like, if you're not making enough, if not enough people are showing up to your calls to take enough calls, and then you got to look at the organic side over here. If people are showing up, but you're not getting to the offer, then you're either disqualifying too easily, or you just don't know how to get to the offer. And if you're making a lot of offers, but sales aren't happening, then you're just bad at sales. Like you're bad at closing. So now you know where to focus on your business, actually create growth in your business and consistently. So for example, like a lot of people are like, oh, I want consistent sales every month. I want consistent clients. I want consistency. What you guys are pretty much saying, in other words, is I want to know how to exactly keep making the same amount of money. All these metrics right here is what creates a call booked. Does that make sense, guys? So if you're not tracking all the metrics that drive the KPI, that drive your goal of calls booked, or that drive the call, the KPI of new sales and new cash, then of course you're never going to make consistency. It just doesn't make any sense. So if you don't know how many calls are showing up to be taken, how many offers you're making from that, how many sales you're making for that, the revenue, the cash, and the receivables, and you're not tracking your actual sales. And then you're not tracking how many posts you're making, post interactions you're getting, like engagements, how many inbound leads you're getting, how many conversations you're starting, how many follow-ups you're doing. Because 10% of people that you talk to on the first day that you start talking to them actually book a call. Not even, maybe 5%. Majority of them, 95% of your book calls come from follow-up conversations. Many of you talk to someone for a couple of days, get bored of it or get exhausted, and you stop and go on to the next person because you think, oh, well, that person wasn't interested. Nobody's interested until they are. That's the point of business. That's the point of why you're good at what you do. You have to be able to get people to want to pay you and get people to want to book a call to pay you. And your ability to do that really well is what makes you money. And like a lot of people, they don't track their metrics, so they don't actually know what their problems are. That's the biggest problem, right? Like a lot of people go out there and they just do the organic stuff. They post content. They talk to a bunch of people. They try to make a bunch of offers, and they don't know why. They make sales sometimes they don't make sales. They keep doing the same thing, but nothing's working. That's the problem though. It's because you don't track anything. Tracking is the secret. You want to have a team one day, you got to start tracking now. You want to make money, you got to start tracking now. You can't grow what you don't measure, period. So in the sales side, that's all you need to know. On the organic side, that's all you need to know. These conversions, by the way, is what you focus on fixing. If your show up rate's bad, you're going to look at how many calls you're booking versus calls you're taking. And you go, how come I'm booking 20 calls and only 15 show up or 10 show up? That's a problem in the messenger chat. So you go to the messenger chat to fix it. If you have a bad close rate, you're going to look at how come all the offers I'm making, they're not turning into new sales. Then you look at your sales calls, you review your sales calls, you look at your sales script, you go, where do I lose people? How come people say no? What's the most common objections I get? Right? Then you know where to focus on your business to create consistency in sales. If you aren't collecting a lot of money from the sales you make, I have a lot of people that join my program and they make 20,000 a month in sales, but they collect like $4,000. I'm like, why are you collecting $4,000? You make $4,000 that month then. And they go, well, they wanted a payment plan. So I split it over 35 years, $50 a week. I'm like, that's not how business works. So like now you go, okay, I'm selling 10, 15 grand a month, but I'm only collecting $2,000 or $3,000. So I'm cash broke. The major things I like to look at. So there's 4 major KPIs I look at. The 4 primary KPIs I think that matter the most if you want to make money. It comes down to these 4 simple things. Number 1 is how many sales you need to make. Number 2 is how many offers you need to make that many sales, offers made. Number 3 is how much calls you need to book, calls booked. And number 4 is the amount of total conversations you have. So let's say I have a KPI calculator built for my clients here. So let's say I wanted to make 50 grand in a month. Okay. Let's say I wanted to make 50 grand a month. Well, how do we make that work? Well, first we need to know what's your offer price. So let's say your offer is, let's put it down here. Let's say is $7,000. Let's just say. Okay. Let's say your close rate. That's the second thing we need to know. Close rate. Let's say 40%. Let's say your show up rate, 90%. And let's say your convo to call rate, convo to call is 5%. Okay. So now do you guys understand why I need to track KPIs? Because I can't actually set targets for how I'm going to hit 50 grand consistently until I know these 4 things. How many sales do I need to make 50 grand? How many offers do I need to make that many sales? How many calls do I need to make that many offers? How many conversations do I need to have to get that many calls booked? See, it works like a reverse funnel. So I need to know these 4 things to actually set my targets. So my advice to you would be, if you're not tracking already, track for a month straight, see what your numbers are, calculate the conversions, and then base your goals and your income goals and your targets based off of your conversions. This might not be everyone's close rate or everyone's show up rate or everyone's call to convo, right? Like it might not be. So you got to find out yours. These are close to like some of my clients or mine. So let's say your program is 7 grand. Well, the amount of sales you need to make $50,000 is you would need 7 sales. And the amount of offers you need to make at 40% close rate is 18 offers. The amount of calls you would need to book is 20 if 90% show up. And the amount of conversations you would need to have is 397 in a month, by the way, in a month. So the weekly would be this. This is weekly. Look how simple this is. To make 50 grand a month, you would only need to close 2 sales, really like 1.5 sales, because I'm just rounding up. You need to close 2 sales. You only have to make 4 offers if you're, well, I mean, technically 5 offers if you're at 40%, but it's rounding up in here. You only need to book 5 calls if 90% shows up. And you got to talk to 99 people a week. 99 people a week. If you work 5 days a week, that's only 20 people a day, guys. 20 people a day. Talk to 20 people a day, turn out of 20 people a day into 1 booked call, right? A day, so that you can have, no, it would be 5 a week. Let me do this. So you would need to book 5 calls a week. You make 4 offers to them and you close half of them. If you could do that, you're making 50 grand a month. That's pretty much how it works. So if I talk to 100 people a week, which is nothing, by the way, my targets is 100 people, 50 to 100 people a day. So you can imagine now why we make almost $500,000 every month. But these are the 4 primary KPIs. If you want to make 50 grand a month, you just got to know how much your offer is. So how many sales you need to make based off the offer price. What's your close rate? So how many calls you need to take and offers you need to make. What's your show up rate? So how many calls you need to book to actually make those offers, and how many people you need to talk to their book calls. Now, if at any moment you don't know what these numbers are, that's the reason why you're not making 50 grand a month. And if you are making 50 grand a month or more without knowing these numbers, you're never going to get to $500,000 a month this way. I promise you that, guys. Last year, my biggest mistake was like being talented. That was my biggest downfall, like making sales without needing to know this stuff. And what's crazy is we just built all this out for our clients inside here is our SGC KPI tracker. If you look at this, we have a KPI calculator. All you got to do is put $100,000 or whatever your number is. Let's say you want to make $1 million, right? Whatever your number is, you just put in your price point here. Let's say it's $5,000. You put your close rate, let's say it's 25, and it could be like anything, 28.4%. And then like your show up rate is like 63.6%. It doesn't really matter. And your convo to call rate is like, let's say, 7.5%. Who knows? It rounds up. So if I really wanted to, I could just do this. But it tells you right here, if you want to make $1 million, you got to close 200 sales, make 704 offers at that close rate. Make 1,100 calls, take 1,100 calls booked. You got to book 1,100 calls at 64% show up rate. And you got to talk to 14,000 people. Let's just say you want to do this throughout a year, $1 million. Now you know your targets. And if you wanted to make that weekly, like 250 grand a week, you would have to just make 50 sales a week. That's $5 grand. See how this works, guys? So this is our KPI calculator, which I'm really proud that we built. It's like epic. And then we funnel it into a dashboard like this. So now we give this to our clients instead of your yearly goal, breaks down your monthly goal and actually how far you are to that. So if I make, let's say 50,000, let's say this much money, it'll tell you how much you're at that month. Let's say we only make $12,000. You have 40% of the monthly income of your monthly target and 3% to your yearly goal. So it does all that for you here. So we have all the stuff here, the tracker, the overall cash collected, your averages throughout the year, the total for the year, everything. And then we give you a KPI legend as well, which is like, hey, this is the metrics you got to cover, and here's how. Every day we have a tracker as well, so they can track their daily metrics and then put it into their monthly metrics. their monthly dashboard. And so all of this gets filled out. When they fill out this over here, it fills that out into the dashboard here. And you get to see your whole business in one glance, guys. This is the coolest thing ever. We even built a post tracker for people as well, so they can actually track how many posts they make, where it is, what kind of what group it's in, what's the post link, what type of post is it. We have all types of posts in our training system. If it's a 2-step, what kind of free resource giveaway, and how many likes and comments did it go viral, and did it go below average? You can track. Everything is sellable. Every offer is sellable, and there's always a market for something as long as you choose a hot market. If you had the skill of tracking, you would make more money because you know how to measure. And guys, this is a life principle. You want to lose weight, you got to measure. You want to make money, you got to measure. Hope this guys helps. DM me if you guys want to work with us. We'll book a call on our calendar and we can talk, see if you're a fit for what we do. And if you have any other questions, drop it down below. Love you guys so much. Go on and make the rest of your day the best of your day.